Hello, 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 and welcome to Game Design using Gambling! In this video, I use gambling via a multitude of wheels with modifiers on them to determine what kind of game I make and how I make it. We start with a wheel that determines how much time I have, then a wheel that determines if it'll be 2D or 3D, then a wheel that determines a single modifier that must be done throughout the whole challenge. Finally, a wheel that I spin after every hour of work that I must do or include into the game. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This was a fun one to make, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the video. Let's just get right into it, shall we? Drum roll, please. 6 hours. Okay, so now I got 6 hours to work on the game. Next wheel. Oh boy. So now I have 6 hours to make a 3D game. So now I gotta spin one more wheel, and it's 3D specific. I have two wheels, one for 2D, one for 3D. So we're gonna spin the 3D one now. Every model must use a single modifier of my choice. Okay, so that means that every single model that I make that I import into Unity or whatever game engine of my choice is, it must use the same modifier. So if I want to use, let's just say, the solidify modifier, every single 3D object must be solidified and then put into Unity. That could give me some pretty interesting things, actually, especially if I want to do like wireframe. Wireframe would give me a lot of triangles, but it'd be really cool if everything looked like a wireframe. Oh my! All right, this is serious. I have to make a game in 6 hours, and the timer starts. Hey, hold on, I gotta get my phone timer. All right, I got about an hour, and then I have to spin the modifier wheel. So, time to make the game. I figured I'd make my game like that one movie about a digital world because I decided to use the wireframe modifier in Blender, and that makes things look more retro/digital. I figured a game about leaving trails behind you where the winner is determined by who doesn't crash first could be a pretty feasible thing to do in the time frame that I had. I'm not tired. Here, I made the player move forward and spawn an invisible box collider behind it every so often to make the wall that the player and enemy could run into. After fiddling with the cube's axes of rotation a bit, I was able to get it going, and this is what it looked like. It was like watching a child take their first steps. There it goes. Goodbye to infinity and beyond, little one. I will see you next millennia. Many moods from now. All right, it's kind of doing what I wanted it to do. That's so funny. Oh, I didn't check if it was spawning anything. It should be spawning a whole bunch of the cubes, and it does not seem to be doing that. Huh. Since it wasn't spawning anything, I made the coroutine start an update. Yeah, this is too many box colliders. Update was a mistake. So what I could do instead of putting this on update is I can do this on start again, and instead do a while loop, and then just chuck you into the while loop. So naturally, while something doesn't work, I stare at it and ask, why? I managed to fix the coroutine, and now I got box colliders spawning behind me at a reasonable rate. Then I added the ability to move left and right. Notice how I didn't say the word turn yet. Started adding some materials and post-processing to make it more juicy, and then some walls to keep the player arena contained better.
Important thing isn't can you read music, it's can you hear it, can you hear them.
Okay, I made some decent progress. We are able to move the character somewhat. However, 1 hour has elapsed. You know what that means? It means we gotta spin the wheel. Let's go gambling. I'm actually very nervous. If it's like restart everything, I'm gonna be really mad. All right, you heard it here, folks. The wheel has spoken. Look at him in all of his glory. So now I can... Oh, that is not, what happened to him? They unsquished him. He's not fat enough. Yeah, there we go. That's more like it. And then we can, yeah, there we go. There we go. Yes, yes, yes. I decided to stop using the rigid body component to move and add force to the bike, and instead, it now runs off of translations and rotations to give that more classic feel to the game. And that got me to this point where I can move at a fixed rate and turn left and right to build my ribbon trail behind me. Okay, so now I got the player Now we need the enemy. Okay, so I have an idea. Basically, what I'd like to do... I just realized I haven't started my timer. Oh no. How long have I been recording? How long have I been recording? 13 minutes. Okay, I'll take that off of my timer. 45 minutes, and then I will spin the wheel again. Woo! Okay, so I started the enemy AI script by adding the code to move it forward at a constant rate. I got the hiccups. Oh no. Here I continued to fill out the script by writing a coroutine to roll a random number between 1 and 10, and then set that to the time it'll take to make its next decision of a right or left turn, which it will then roll a number between 0 and 1, and if the number is 0, it'll turn left. If it's 1, it'll turn right. Once it has executed all of this, it'll then repeat until the enemy loses to the player. Time between turns. That is not time between turns. Time between turns. I hate it when it's like, oh, do you want to autocorrect to this? And then it doesn't autocorrect to what you want. Bugs me like crazy. This is not optimized, but you know what? I'm just hoping it works. All right. You are gonna have to be 180 degrees. Wait! I then changed the color of the trail from blue to orange, and then I started the test, and can't you believe it? My idea worked. Haha! That's a first. Okay, can you go the other direction? You're kind of just going in a square here. I need you to take a right. You've been taking all lefts. Do you take a right? Surely you take a right. It's only taking left so far. Okay, I'm gonna do a debug log. Also, I think I'm gonna give this ribbon trail, so it just kills you if you hit that. I increased the range of numbers and it still wasn't working, and then I realized it can only turn left because I told it to do so, since both values are negative 90. Oh my gosh. Wait. I died. Okay. With the enemy AI settled, I decided to move on to make the main menu really quick, and then inspiration suddenly struck. What if instead of a boring PNG for a win or lose screen, I could leave the game running and showcase the winner or loser of the battle? I first added a camera that will remain disabled during the game until a victor, no pun intended, is decided. Then I added some buttons so we have a closed gameplay loop, added some text that says "You win" so the player feels good about themselves, and here's the result. I didn't mean for you to be able to still like play around, but that's kind of cool. I like that you can do that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now I gotta do a you lose, and then I got a game. That's kind of crazy. I replicated what I did with the player to the enemy, and now we also got a lose screen. Okay, time is up. So you know what that means? Time for the wheel. Wheel, 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 wheel. -1 hour to work. Okay, so I now have... So this is the second hour, so I now have 5 hours to work on the game rather than 6 hours. Honestly, I'm feeling kind of confident. Just like all good 3D modelers that use Blender, I deleted the default cube, only to add it back in because I needed it. I made a really big room with inverted faces using said cube, added the wireframe modifier that I must use because of the wheel spin at the beginning stating I must use one Blender modifier on every model in the game. I then added some materials to it to look futuristic, and then I got to work on the bike. I just kind of played around with shapes, honestly, trying to make something somewhat resemble a motorcycle. Eventually, I finished the design, and since I'm on the clock for this challenge, I decided it was going to have to do. That looks pretty cool to me. Oh yeah, I like that. I actually really like that. I know it's not a super complicated model, but I think it just looks cool. I like the aesthetic. Once the assets were finished, I brought them into Unity and set them up in their places, and added the materials that they needed. And once things were set up with the player bike, I tested it out and it looks so good. I'm very happy with... Wait, why do I look like this? I can't believe... Okay, I got tired of sitting. So I have a standing desk, and I lifted it up, and the camera is now in a little bit of a different position, and so therefore my face is in a bit of a different position. I did recalibrate the camera and stuff. However, I forgot to press apply. Anywho, doesn't that look cool? I really like how that looks. Once I fixed my camera settings, I figured out to animate the wheels to look like they're spinning, since you'll see the front wheel from the main camera's POV. Yeah! Yeah! Oh, it looks so good! Oh, it looks so good! For just for the amount of time that I put into it, okay? I mean, I still like it, but I look so good. Speaking of the front wheel spinning, here's a look at my first playtest of the game now that the bike models are in and animated. Yeah! Oh, it looks so good. I did find it difficult to play the game in first person though, so I had the idea to add a mini-map of sorts to help you keep track of your surroundings while still letting you enjoy a first-person POV. Basically, there's a camera over the whole arena rendering the bikes and floor, and then I took the output and fed it to a render texture and added an image to the UI to take that render texture and display it to you, the player, which gives you this finished product. After that, I quickly added the arena in before this hour of work was up, and... okay, I have 2 hours remaining. Spin the wheel, what do we get? You know what? I'm going to spin that again. I don't think I'm going to do can't have a player object because I feel like that's just going to break stuff. Remember, this is like the first time I'm doing this. I just kind of spit out ideas onto this wheel. So, I don't know. Now that I think about it, that's just completely breaking. Must spin again. Oh, of course I do. Come on, give me something I can work with. Give me something funny. Must use all... real-time lighting? I'm gonna use real-time lighting? Oh, that's not gonna be fun. Oh wait, I already am using real-time. Okay, well, if I use any more lights for some reason, I'll make sure that they are real-time. All right, next hour of work. I decided to redo the arena because I felt like the floor had oddly proportioned lines compared to the size of the bikes, and the walls had too many lines from the subdivision, so I split up the two, and now the grid on both parts of the arena feels better. Also, I added some decorations on 2 of the walls for a little added bonus. I added the new arena into Unity and set up the materials, and in my opinion, it looks a lot better. I then wanted to get a particle effect for a little bit of feedback when a bike explodes from hitting something. I ended up with this burst of square particles leaving behind a mini light trail behind it to look digital and fitting to the theme. I initially tried to set up the particle effect for the explosion to be an instantiation, but I ended up just making the particle system its own separate object that teleports to the bike's last known position, and then play the effect once. It was just easier in the end. After that, I decided to mess around with the post-processing a bit until the hour was up. And that is my timer for my last hour. Sorry, my second to last hour. Shut up! No, don't start again, I'm not ready. Yeah, time to spin the wheel! Wahoo! Final spin. This is the last hour I have to work, unless it gives me another hour. All audio must be the same clip. Oh man, that's gonna be... I mean, hey, at least I'm starting to work on audio right now, as in like the final hour, but like, you've gotta be kidding me. So now I have to use, like, I don't know, let's just say the metal pipe sound effects for whatever reason. That has to be used for every single thing that I want to add audio to, whether it's button clicks, whether it's main menu music, whether it's explosions, everything has to be the exact same audio clip. Now I gotta find a good audio clip. I think I could work with this one. Oh no! Time was starting to run out until the challenge was over. This was the time to make sure I got a presentable game with as few bugs and errors as possible. I decided to make a quick title screen since just the title text of the game and default blue text was not doing the game justice. And I really like how it turned out for just cobbling something together at the last minute. That being said, before I show off the final build, there's now a link in the description that'll take you to my itch.io page. I'll also leave a comment on these types of videos with the link directly to the specific game that I make. So if you'd like to try out this game yourself, head on over and you'll have the zip file for it. Thank you for sticking with me for this long. Now to show off the final result. I don't know how loud that is in the mic. I thought I would bring it up. Okay, you can shut up now. I'm sorry. Time is officially up. This was fun. I want to do this again. I absolutely want to do this again. All right, now I get to play the game as a build. I'm going to turn everything off that needs to be turned off, like Blender and all that sort of stuff. And we're going to play the game in the solo build. Okay, do I do? Yeah, fine, I'll do it. Hello. Gosh, that's loud. Hello, and welcome to Ront. It is not Tron. Do not think that is Tron. It has nothing to do with Tron. Nothing related to Tron. It is not Tron. It's Ront. Okay. Oh my gosh, the frames. The performance could be better. Although sometimes, like right now, this is actually not so bad. Okay, where am I? I am way too far from this guy. And just crash into the wall. I'm just that good. Okay, we're gonna restart. I don't know how I always lose that. Maybe because I'm the one turning left, so I lose a little bit of this. Yeah, that might be it. Okay. But yeah, so, ooh, I just realized the you lose is kind of hidden behind the... Oh well, whatever. Yeah, and I got Gormal. I actually think that was kind of funny, rolling that on the wheel and having Gormal be my enemy that I fight. I also like, gosh, that's loud. I also really like how this turned out. This was kind of a spur of the moment, like, oh, I need a better title screen, and I think this was pretty cool. It says start. I know you can't really see it. It says start behind me. It says quit in the orange and stuff like that. Not a whole lot of sound effects, but hey, 5 hours. I'm pretty proud of this for 5 hours. So thank you for watching and get out of here.